Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and Druid Week continues. Today we are getting the Entangling Roots skill rework. We're going to get some talks about it, we're going to get some new nodes, we're going to see how it interacts, we're going to have a few clips of the new animation, how it looks visually, a couple of the conversions. Yes, that's right, Entangling Roots will have damage conversions now, and it's going to do a lot more damage, or at least a couple of the clips I looked at real quick looked like they were actually able to kill enemies on hit, which is going to be superior for it. It also works completely different than it worked before, so let's go ahead and dive into it. In this forum post, which will be linked in the description below, feel free to click it and follow along or read it at your own pace. For this, we have the Entangling Roots skill rework. We hope all of you Druid fans loved the unveiling of our new werebear design in the werebear blog. We are thrilled to have you back again for the next reveal. We are eager to share our full vision for the future of Druid Mastery, and all the exciting changes coming your way before the end of the year. Today marks day 2 of our Druid Development Week, so stay tuned in the coming days to catch even more great news. See the full schedule below. Today we are focusing on the Druid skill Entangling Roots. So Entangling Roots is getting a full rework. So here we go. While redesigning the Druid as a whole, we knew we needed to elevate one of his skills into the Mastery Lock section of his passive tree. After some consideration, we felt that thematically, Entangling Roots will fill this spot very well. By elevating the skill in this way, we also knew we had to elevate the power, visuals, and impact of the skill across the board. To make sure it was worth committing to, we are thrilled to share while you have the results of that work below. So what this means is Entangling Roots will only be available to the Druid Mastery. That means no more Entangling Roots for the Beastmaster, no more Entangling Roots for the Shaman. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But again, the skill is going to be completely different anyways. And you can see here, this node is the base Entangling Roots. You call forth a wave of roots that grows outwards in a wide cone in front of you, so no longer a circle by base. The wave deals physical damage and roots enemies it hits for 1.5 seconds. It no longer slows enemies, but actually roots them in place for a short duration. Rooted enemies take physical damage over time until they are freed. Added spell damage applies at 100% to the initial hit and 200% per second to the damage over time, so it is still a spell. And you can see it has the physical, spell, damage over time, and attunement tags. We wanted to keep the core fantasy of rooting large groups of enemies while also open to changing other aspects. We quickly came across 3 design challenges. Currently, it created too much visual noise by being a large persistent area of effect, and this was a major barrier to bringing its VFX up to the latest quality standards, as it had a negative impact on performance. In its current form, Entangling Roots simply slowed enemies rather than completely immobilizing them, resulting in them doing a slow walking animation that again did not hold up to our standards. New enemies walking onto the skill's area were also effectively rooted. This often created a pile effect as enemies were all stopping at the edge of the skill's affected area. This made it much harder to solve, as completely immobilizing the enemies exacerbates the pile-up effect. So as you can see, they wanted to basically completely change the way that the skill mechanically worked, considering that many times you'd notice if you're in the arena, you have a bunch of mobs coming at you, you could spam down an Entangling Roots, and then all of those enemies would slow before they ever got to you, allowing you to either run away or kill them before they could even touch you. It was a very powerful skill. To combat visual noise, it made sense to avoid leaving a persistent visual effect on the ground for the full duration of the route. From a mechanical perspective, losing the persistent ground effect would have the added benefit of preventing the pile-up issue, as no new enemies could be rooted after the initial cast. As such, we changed the skill from having a persistent ground effect to having an initial impact that left enemies immobilized, while also suffering damage over time. And then as you can see, it looks like a little double paragraph here, but we have a little clip here where you can see that when you use Entangling Roots, it goes out in a cone shape in front of you. It actually has some decent distance. I'm assuming this is the default version of it. I'm assuming you might be able to get it to go longer, you might be able to increase the duration, but you'll actually be able to see that it's actually killing things on hit, which who knows what level this is at, who knows what you're wearing, but overall, it looks like it's going to be a much more powerful skill for damage. From a visual perspective, this meant we could focus the roots visuals around individual enemies, allowing us to increase the prominence of the roots without causing too much visual noise, and increase their visual fidelity without sacrificing performance. The end result is a fresh take on a classic Druid-themed skill that we are very proud to share with the community. We hope you enjoy exploring this newly energized skill and its brand new skill tree full of unique decisions and powerful changes. And then we got some node examples. The skill specialization tree is getting a complete overhaul with a wide variety of options for different druid playstyles. Enjoy a taste of what Entangling Roots skill has to offer. And the first node we have is Frenzying Thorns. Entangling Roots now immobilizes your totems and vines for twice the duration as enemies, granting them additional armor and increased attack and cast speed. So this is a little confusing to me because I'm trying to think of all the totems and all the vines that are currently in the game, and none of them move. None of them actually move, so immobilizing them is not a negative effect. So this means one of two things. Either they can move now, and starting in 8.4, they're going to have the ability to move around, or this is just completely negated and it's not something that needs to be even worried about at all. So it's a little weird to see that you're immobilizing totems and vines. That could be a clue as to it's possible that vines will be able to move around in the next patch, or that totems will be able to move around in the next patch. So that's got me curious right there. Next one, we have Winternid Thorns. Entangling Roots base damage is converted to cold. Consequently, this damage scales with increases to cold damage, but not increases to physical damage. It also has a chance to freeze enemies. That's right, you can convert Entangling Roots into a cold skill. Physical resistance shred from all sources is converted to cold resistance shred chance, and effects related to physical resistance shreds now depend on cold resistance shred instead. What that basically means is inside the skill tree, if you have something that says that if you have shredded a certain amount of physical resistance, that you gain movement speed or something, it would now be cold resistance instead that would be based upon. So it converts the whole skill tree for you. And here you can see the base physical, or the base physical damage is converted to cold damage, and now you have a base freeze rate. And then down below you can see a little clip of this. You can actually freeze enemies with it. It's cold, it's got snow particles, it looks like frozen ground almost. It's really, really nice. I really like it. Poisonous Seeds. Entangling Roots now creates seeds in the area. When an enemy draws too close to the seed, it bursts, releasing a burst of spore that slows and poisons enemies. If you have taken the cold nod, the seed burst inflicts frostbite and chill on enemies instead. So that's pretty cool. You can create some seeds, and it sounds like they're just going to be points at which enemies get close to, they explode, and you either apply frostbite and chill, or you apply poison and slow. So that's actually pretty cool. Wonder what the area of effect of those will be. And then we have Overgrown Garden. You now cause Entangling Roots to expand in a circle around you rather than in a cone in front, but it now has a cooldown, and this gives you that circle mode with an increased cooldown. It seems like the skill itself already has a cooldown. This gives added seconds for cooldown, but it's going to be in a circle, so kind of like the default that you have now, which is pretty cool. And if you look at the animation for it, it actually looks really, really cool, the way it spreads out. I really like the animation. I really like the visuals of the roots. It looks really, really cool. I really like it, but man, do I like the AoE. It's almost like, and I hate to say this, it almost looks like in this clip what Smelter's Wrath should look like. Smelter's Wrath should not be a channeling ability, but it should instead come out from the center of you like this. I really like this, and it looks to be very, very damaging, so I'm curious just how much damage we can make it do and how good it's going to feel, and if it will be tied into any other skills inside the Werebear tree, such as Maul. Another note here, Rooted System. Entangling Roots is now cast from the nearest totem to your cursor. That's pretty cool, so you can actually cast totems up in front of you and have Entangling Roots be cast from that point. Pretty cool. Wild Weapons. Root Wave causes your minions and other allies it hits to deal additional physical damage with spells and attacks for 8 seconds. This effect does not stack, but you can give them physical damage added, and it looks like you're going to be able to do multiple points in there, so that's pretty cool. And then thank you for joining us to reveal the changes to the coming Entangling Roots skill in patch 8.4. We hope you enjoy the new direction for the Druid, and as always, would love to hear your feedback in the comments. We hope you join us soon to check out the other exciting updates coming to the Druid's most adapted transformation, the Spriggan. Again, that'll be tomorrow. We will talk about the Spriggan the day after the new form teaser. Still taking guesses on what that is, and then on the 5th, we'll have the Druid overhaul overview and the new form. So what do you guys think of this new skill? To me, it looks like it's going to be very fun to play around with. I like that it's going to have some conversions. I like the way the animation kind of takes out, and I like the fact that it's going to be damaging on hit. I also like the fact that it should perform optimally much more better than it does now, which is going to make it feel better to use. Alright, that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, stay safe and have a good day.